Hey everybody, welcome back to this second part two of breaking through the belief paradox. I didn't realize it was so long since I recorded that last video. I think I left you guys hanging a little bit, but that's okay. So all is well that ends well. When we talked about the belief paradox originally, if you haven't watched that video yet, go watch that first, okay? Just go ahead and click on that video, stop here, go back, watch that video first. When we talk about the belief paradox, what it is it says that given the chance, we will not operate outside our belief systems. Okay, we just won't do it. However, our life is already created what it's going to be based on those beliefs and based on those belief systems. And then if we want anything else to manifest itself in our lives, more money, better relationships, better health, less self-doubt, self-talk, things like that, more confidence, then in order to have something else in your life, you have to act outside of your existing belief structures, which of course goes back to the beginning, which says that given the chance, you won't. So the next question is, well, then what? How do we do it? How do we get from where we want to be to where we are to where we want to be? Well, the biggest first step here with everything is awareness, all right? And I really want to stress that today and that on this video, because awareness is something that we take for granted in a lot of ways. A lot of people go, well, I'm very aware of things that are going on around me, but you're actually processing all of that through your belief filter. And so what you're doing, you're already judging the information that you're getting based on your beliefs. So you're really not aware of what's happening. You're aware of what's being put up against your beliefs, and your beliefs will win out. And I can't remember if I said it in the last video or not, but I'll tell you, there's a thing in psychology and neuroscience called the overkill effect, where if, let's say that you have a belief about whatever, right? You have a belief about a particular type of tree. And I come in and I go, well, no, that's actually wrong about that particular type of tree. In fact, here's some facts. And if you read this, it will show you this, this, and this, and this. What happens is in the brain, in our neural pathways, because our ego wants us to be right, when I give you proof that goes against your beliefs, it actually reinforces your beliefs even more than if I wouldn't have said anything at all, which is interesting, right? So I'm giving you facts that are showing you something different, but it actually reinforces your beliefs even more, which is why I say when it comes to awareness, you're aware of your own interpretation of things, and that interpretation is also based on your beliefs. So when you want to have something else in life, one of the first things to be aware of is maybe the things that I see aren't really the way that I believe they are. And when you come from that standpoint, when you come from that kind of context, you say, hey, what I know might not be really what I know. In other words, the way you have it isn't the way it is. Now, it doesn't make you right or wrong, right? We all operate and we do the best we can based with the tools that we have. We make the best choices for our life with the tools that we have, with the information we have, with our beliefs that we have. But the way things actually are not the way that you have it. And that's the first step of awareness, is realizing, hey, life might not exactly be the way I think it is. And, when I go back to me when I was young and I felt different and I felt like I wanted to be a girl and I felt there was something wrong with me, and so I hid it and I put it down and put all that pain inside, and I lived with that for so long to the point where I was suicidal, I wasn't happy. You can never tell on the outside, but on the inside I was dying. And literally there was this one moment in my life in my late 20s where I said, what if it's not like this? What if there is nothing wrong with me? I've been living with this belief so long that there is something wrong with me, that nobody's going to be able to love me. And then I reinforced that, because you'll reinforce your beliefs. Like I said, if you get information to the contrary, it reinforces your belief. Plus, you'll look yourself to reinforce your belief. Of course you will. You would never try to want to prove yourself wrong, because then that gets you in a state of discomfort, and we don't want to be in discomfort. That's the job of the ego, keep us comfortable. So I had this moment that I said, well, what if, right? And that's the first step to awareness. What if you're not your limiting beliefs that you have about? What if you are pretty enough? What if you are smart enough? What if you are good enough? What if you are worthy of that? What if you are smart enough? What if you can do it? What if you can get the resources you need? And that what if is this sudden awareness where we start looking at possibilities, and possibilities is the way out of this belief paradox. And then and when you see that, you're going to see that it's not this or this, as in you've been living to believe. It all of a sudden there's things that we know, and we know that we know. So I know how to speak English, and I know that I know that. I also know that I don't know how to speak Chinese, and I know that I don't know how to speak Chinese. But then there's this whole other realm of worlds. There's this whole other area of life, because those two things, I know and I know that I know, and I don't know and that I know that I don't know, are tiny, just a little speck of dust on the information in the known universe. Where the masters play, where philosophers play, where we try to take our trainings from and teachings from and have you step into this, is I don't know, and I don't even know I don't know it, right? Which means it's totally, virtually unknown. Now, when you first get put up against it, your beliefs are going to kick in and say, oh, well, I knew that, or this is just something else. And you're going to try to fit it in your little box. You're going to try to, you've got the round hole and the square peg. You're going to try to make that square peg round so it fits in the hole. I know how that sounds. It wasn't lost on me, for all of you sarcastic people out there. Anyway, and what happens is if we have a square peg and a round hole, it makes us nervous. And so the brain then starts backing up your beliefs, backing up your beliefs, backing up your beliefs. And my best example of this, I was reading this awesome article, and this is the gist of it, right? There's five scientists who study this one small little particular thing in the world. And there's only 5 scientists that do it. Only 5. I want to make that clear. How many people? How many scientists study this? Only 5. 2 of which made a breakthrough in it. And in this breakthrough, they noticed something about whatever it was that they were studying. And so they published a paper on it, and then they extrapolated like what that could mean in the future. And so somebody wrote an article about it in this very scientific magazine. And of course, the article is online. Now, how many people know about what they were studying? 5, right? If you look at the comments below, they crack me up. They're like, this is bullshit, blah, 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 blah. Well, I'm pretty sure that out of those 150 comments that I was scrolling through, those weren't coming from the 3 other scientists that study it, right? These are coming from people that didn't even know about it until this moment. They didn't even know this existed. They didn't know, and they didn't even know that they didn't know that there were only 5 scientists. I didn't know it, that there were only 5 scientists. And then what they found was just so incredible to me, because it's like, wow, these are really cool little breakthroughs. I didn't even know this existed, and I didn't even know it was possible with this little breakthrough that they had. And you have all these people disproving it, because when you get up against something I don't know, and I don't even know I don't know it, if you're not coming from the space of awareness that says, this is where possibility is, and are excited about it, then you come from it of, this is scary and awkward, I feel uncomfortable because I need to understand. And that's the other thing the brain tries to do. It's constantly connecting dots in your head. The neural pathways are connecting dots. Sometimes it connects dots that don't even go together, right? Because our brain has to understand. That's what, and when we don't, that's why people get violent and people get abusive and things like that, because if you don't know, it's kind of like your brain's going, I have nothing to connect this to, and it's a state of panic. And when you panic, what happens? Think about what happens when you panic. Your heart rate goes up, your respiratory rate goes up, your breathing gets shallower, you actually go into a fight or flight mode. And basically that fight is the fight mode is to literally fight. And so you'll lash out, or maybe you'll get physical and violent when we don't understand something. And we're trying to say, instead of saying, hey, it's okay if I don't understand this, but I want to be aware that this is available in the world. I want to be aware that there's something new. I want to be aware that there's something that I haven't looked at yet. I want to be aware that things might not be the way that I think they are. That disconnects that panic and puts you in a mode of not understanding, but the mode to want to know, to want to look, to want to say, cool, I want to look into this. And if that's available, what else is there? And that's where all the possibilities come from. But none of those possibilities are there if we're acting out of our already existing beliefs, and we choose not to be aware that things aren't the way that you believe they are. All right? And usually when I'm up on stage and I'm talking about something like this, there's a point like right now where I say, how many of you think that you've heard a word that I've said? And everybody raises their hand, you know. How many people have you heard everything that I've said? And you raise your hand. I said, none of you have heard a word I said. And there's this kind of weird look in the audience. Like, what do you mean nobody? It's like none of you, you've heard your own interpretation of the things that I was saying. And some of you are sitting there already doubting it. Some of you are sitting there saying, I'm wrong. Some of you are sitting there going, my God, this is amazing. And it all depends on who you are and how strong your beliefs are, right? And all I do is invite people to take it, just take a step into this conversation. You don't have to stay if you don't want to. But if you put your existing beliefs down, are you willing to be wrong about the way that you have it to see something new? That's awareness, all right? That's awareness. Awareness isn't that it's happening. Awareness isn't that I know that it's happening. The awareness is maybe things aren't the way that I think they are, and if they're not, then what is possible? And that's where all the possibilities open up for us. If you were smart enough, as a self-limiting belief, let's say, if you were smart enough, what would be possible for you to do? Well, a heck of a lot more than if you were saying to yourself, it's not possible because I'm not smart enough. Or if you were worthy enough, what would you have in your life, right? If you were worthy enough, if you said, I'm willing to be wrong about not being worthy, I am worthy, now possibilities open to you that you actually would shut off before. As I said before, with my own journey, when I had that belief that nobody's going to love me, there were people in my life that loved me. There were relationships I was in that they loved me, but I couldn't hear it, right? I couldn't hear it because it was the square peg in the round hole. So I had to make the relationship turn bad for it to fit in my existing belief structure, right? I had to make us split. And then as we split, I would hurt the person because they did really love me. I couldn't take it in. These are the things that I still ask for forgiveness for almost daily to the universe in there, because I know I hurt some really good people because of my own self-limiting beliefs, my own problems, my own inward things. But when I was in it, before I asked, what if this isn't what life is? When I was in it, it very much looked like it was them. And I made it about them. So they were my source of happiness, but they were also my source of discontent. And so we would break up. And then I would say, I don't know what's wrong. I'm an attractive guy and I got so much to give. And how come this, I can't find the one for me? Well, I wasn't even being true with myself about who I was, let alone being able to have somebody come in and welcome into my world and have them step into that. I wasn't even open to that possibility. So I had to force it into my beliefs. This is what the belief paradox is. If you want something else that you don't have, you have to operate outside your beliefs, but you won't. And that's exactly what I created for myself in my life. All those things I didn't create because I was living in my own belief structure. If I wanted something new, I'd have to act outside of my belief structure, and given the chance, I won't act outside my belief structure, and either will you. So the first thing, and this is all this video is going to be about, the first thing is, are you willing to say, I'm willing to be wrong about this? Are you willing to say, the way I have it isn't the way it is? Are you willing to say, if it's not this, then what else is out there? And are you willing to go into that area of what I don't know and I don't even know I don't know it? Because that's where your world will transform. That's where your life will transform. That's where your relationships will transform. That's where your money will transform. That's where your health will transform. All in that area that we don't like to go because it can be uncomfortable. Because it's probably going to go again. It's probably going to go against some of your beliefs, which makes us feel really uncomfortable. It's like, whoa, I don't know if I'm ready to have that. But here's the thing, as long as you're aware, could you not listen with an open mind and still walk away going, no, I'm going to keep this belief? Of course you can, right? Not everything is going to be groundbreaking or earth-shattering. You might say, yeah, I'm willing to listen, and listen to go, okay, thank you, I really appreciate that. That's a cool view, and maybe I'll do some research on it, and maybe I'll just say, okay, you know what? I'm going to keep the belief that I have. But what would be amazing in your life if you listen to that and you go, oh my God, I never knew that. One of the best examples of this, my sister and I, my sister's 6 years older than me, and we were never really close. There's a whole bunch of stuff between that. I wanted to be, she really didn't, but her life was incredibly different than my life with the things that happened when we were kids and things like that. And so she had certain beliefs about me as a person. And we went 2 different periods of 2 years without talking to each other. It was my choice. I said, until you want to be open, let's not do this. I don't want to do this. And not that we spoke much, but we just didn't speak at all for 2 periods of 2 years. At the end of that second period of 2 years, I can't remember if I called her or she called me, but we got in touch with each other. And I said, "You want to talk?" She said, "Yeah, I'm going to be in Florida." That's where I was living at the time. "And can you meet me afterwards?" I said, "Yeah." And we went out to dinner. I haven't thought about this in a while. And we had such a beautiful conversation. And I just said to my sister, I said, "Hey, tell me how you see it. Tell me what you think of me. I'm not going to interrupt. I'm not going to say a word." And I listened to her the entire time. And I could see from the way that she saw it why there was disconnection between us. I could see it. I could see it easily. I could understand her logic because my logic was used the same way to do different things. But I could see why she had this resistance to me when she got done talking. And she talked for, probably like an hour, just about me and about ideas and beliefs that she had. Not necessarily just about me, but about our age difference, about how our parents were, things like that. And then some of the life choices that I made as well. And at the end, I said, "So I'm hearing you." I said, "It sounds like it's really frustrating." She said, "Yeah." And I said, "And it sounds like I can see why, like you have this kind of standoff." And she said, "Yeah." I said, "Are you open to hearing anything on my side about it?" Now, I didn't know if she was going to say yes or not. I just asked. I invited her in. I said, "Would you be open to hearing some of, my view of the same events?" And she said, "Yeah." And she listened with an open mind. She decided at that moment, what if what I just talked about isn't the way it is? And then I talked for about an hour, and we had this beautiful moment of connection because, one, I realized how she was seeing things. So even if I was trying to make our relationship better, it wouldn't work because I didn't even know what I was working with, right? I didn't even know what I was working with her because she never expressed that to me before. And then when I was done talking, she realized what a different view that was and what a different thing that was. And we both admitted things about ourselves, and we both admitted things about our situations, and we listened to each other. And then afterwards, it was amazing. Like, I got a call from my sister. I was like, "Oh my God, you're calling me." And she's like, "Yeah." And at the end, she's like, "I love you." I'm like, "Oh my God, I love you too." Like, it changed everything between us simply because at this one moment, we decided to put down what we thought we knew. Because I had my own ideas about my sister too, about why she didn't want to have a relationship with me. And I was wrong. But I didn't get to that point until I was willing to be aware. I was willing to have an awareness that how I see it isn't the way it is. So my question for you now is this. Are you willing to say, how I see it isn't the way it is? Are you willing to be wrong about some of the conversations that you have? And are you willing to be open to something new being generated out of that? And if you are, then you're getting out of the belief paradox. You're breaking through that belief paradox, okay? If you're not, that's fine. Maybe you're not ready. Maybe you'll never will, right? Maybe you've been listening this whole time saying, "This is bullshit. I can't wait till she's done talking so I can type my comments in the comment and prove that I'm right." And that's fine too. Because if you're there in that way, how you see it based on the tools you have and the knowledge that you have and the beliefs that you have, you're absolutely right. What I'm asking you is, can you put that down for a moment and listen to this as if you've never listened to any of this before? Listen to this as this is the first time you're hearing about it. And are you willing to go into this beautiful place of what I don't know and I don't even know I don't know it? And then when you're in that space, it's like millions more possibilities than in what I know and I know that I know, or what I know and I know I don't know. Like literally millions of different choices to make, millions of different possibilities for you, millions of different endings, millions of different beginnings, millions of different results. Everything lies in that area. But you have to have the awareness first, not the awareness of, well, this is going around and I'm judging it based on my beliefs. The awareness of, what if this isn't the way I think it is? Then what could it be? And know that you're smart enough to know the difference. And maybe you listen with an open mind and go, cool, I'm going to keep my same internal opinion, and that's fine. And maybe you don't. Maybe you go, I never knew that before. I'm going to see something else. And maybe your relationship starts to change, like my sisters and mine did. And maybe your money situation changes, or your health situation, or your job situation, or whatever it is for you that you want to see something different. And I'd love to hear in some comments, put some comments down about what you're looking for in your life, what you're ready for in your life. And then ask yourself, am I willing to be wrong the way that I have it so that I can actually create what I want? Because that's what it's all about. That's breaking through the belief paradox, right? That's the first step. Next video, we're going to talk a little bit more about how we break through the belief paradox, because there's other ways to do it. This is the one way. This is also, just so you know, the hardest way, okay? I'm starting with that way first, because if we did it easy first, it'd be a lot harder to listen to this second. So this is the easiest way for you to break through, this is the hardest way for you to break through the belief paradox, by consciously choosing to be wrong about the way that you have it. It goes against our ego, it goes against the things we know, it goes against our comfort zone, it goes against all those things, which is why it's so difficult. Next video, we're gonna go ahead and talk about one of the ways that you can also do this. It's a little bit easier, but it's much more rare. So here's the thing, you can do this right now, even though it's harder, or you can wait for the other thing and just hope it happens. And for some people, they can live a lifetime and it never will. So we'll talk about that, what that is, on the next video. But please subscribe to this channel. Know that it's coming out, so you can know when new videos come out. Please like the video. Please share the video. The more we get this out in the world, the better the world becomes, and we can open up these conversations, and then we can open up those conversations into gender and discrimination and racism and human rights and environmental issues and all these different things, instead of being black or white, left or right, black or white, left or right, good versus evil, whatever it is that we want to divide all this stuff into based on our beliefs, okay? So that's why it's important to get this out there, and choose today to find something in your life that says, if it's not the way that I think it is, how could it be? And start imagining those possibilities. So thank you very much for your time. I'll look forward to seeing you next time. I hope you enjoyed this as much as I do, and we'll see you soon, okay? And I gotta see how I turn this off again. I think it's this.